No, it's all right. Yeah, let's just. Okay. Hello, right. We've got Belinda McKenzie here, right? Yes. Belinda, we both on our lunch break from the intelligence services. You know, we've both come from over at Vauxhall, and but so, how are things at the moment?
Well, things are building up again, having been locked down and easing up, but for how long, you know, so I feel we've got an opportunity that we must seize here to get normal, you know, social interaction and for good causes and, you know, common concerns going again, while we've still got the summer weather and, you know, so it's
what I find amazing is that a day ago, there would have been maybe 100 police to police 99 people, and isn't it amazing? Now there was nothing different from yesterday. There is now. Yeah. All of a sudden we're not a priority yet. A couple of days ago we would have all been arrested for this.
Yes, that's right. Because we were having picnics in the park in May, and then scores of police were piling out of vans and coming on horses, cantering across the field almost, and frightening any children with the picnics. You know, in fact, there was, in the picnic where I was, there's one little girl in tears because her friend had been arrested and pinned to the ground and taken away. You know, that the family friend that had come down with them.
Well, we saw that young girl arrested. You know, and I think it was the same girl. You know.
Well, this is a young man actually. So I mean, but there were several people being attacked that day.
But you know,
and this is not a healthy thing to show children. You know, police are supposed to be looking after the public. It's not a healthy thing for children to see, is it?
No, not at all. Not at all.
A lot of distressed children that day. So I thought, well, this is actually not going in a very good direction. Here we've got an adult protest. Right, so and there's enough of us to outdo the police at last. So normal service is being resumed.
And
I
we've
think.
got Jeremy Corbyn's brother over there, and he's not been arrested. So we're going to go over there and have a little look. All right. Well, God bless you, Belinda.
I'm campaigning for the children first, which is my campaign. It's trying to unify everybody behind the children's issues. And I've made you an honorary member today.
Oh, God bless.
Okay.
Thank you.
Everybody can join everybody's campaign.
Yeah. All right. Lovely.
So I hope you'll join mine, and I'll join yours.
Always. Oh, lovely.
We're on the same page.
Will I get a badge?
You will, actually.
No.
We're organising the badges now.
I've got a badge for you, actually, somewhere. I brought a badge along. We've got to have a badge. God bless the Beech home.
Here, and I've got, hang on, these brave boys.
Oh, is it the Quarriers? Oh, the Blairs.
Twins.
We love the Blairs. We love them. I spoke to Bobby the other day, you know, and the Blairs, as we know, were in the Irish care home, the Catholic care home.
This is yours, is it? Save Our Children.
This is what the Beech home are making. I got your badge, but there's no kids here. I'm just mindful of a guy over there. Okay, he wasn't convicted, but they said he presented as a pervert. But there's no kids here, so I can just I'm gonna spin it around.
We do have to do things.
Right.
Adults, little.
I know, you know. We're always going to get the perverts. They're always going to be there. But should we go in there? Right. See you later. All right. God bless. We stand together. So, how are you, my man? I'm going live. If you want to get on here?
Yeah, by all means.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Dude,
And what's your name, brother?
Simon.
Simon. So what's happening today, Simon?
Well, basically, we've been planning it for ages to come down and represent our part. We made something up called the People's World Council. It was originally to start to galvanise groups together, but not in essence sort of pull them into one physical group on social media, purely because of the way that Facebook just take you down and censor you for absolutely no reason now. So it was to keep everybody, in essence, still individual, but to, in essence, be united at the same time.
Yeah, well, this is what someone said to me, is that don't be part of a group, be a link in a chain and come together. So just go for it again, the People's World Party.
The People's World Council.
So where can people find the People's World Council on the online?
It's basically on Facebook. There's members all over the place that are a part of different groups, but will still represent. So, for example, Stand Up X that are here today, they also represent the People's World Council. It's not just one group; it's everybody. Anti-vaxxers, paedophile hunters, just every group. So, you know, for example, like you might get groups who might not exactly gel with other groups. What our point is to do is just to galvanise everybody together to say, look, it doesn't matter what avenue you're approaching this from, it's to systemically remove corruption from our establishments, no matter which angle you are approaching it from, whether it's anti-vaccination, whether it is, you know, anti-Bill Gates, whatever it may be, to come together unified, because we need to stop fighting amongst one another and turn our eyes to the people that have orchestrated all of this madness and remove the corruptions from these establishments.
Well, what I was just saying to Belinda was that 2 days ago, a day ago, this would be illegal.
Exactly.
You know, we would get nicked, me and you, for doing this.
Exactly.
So what's happened is a COVID virus just, I don't know, expunged or whatever, you know, and the police, if we'd have done this yesterday, they would have been on force. And I'm telling you, because we've been to every one of these, and they started outnumbering us, you know.
That's the thing. I mean, also as well, it's to, from our perspective, it's to appeal to the better nature, for example, with the police, the good eggs, because everybody can, you know, create and tie together everybody as one whole deal. Oh well, you're all bad, and that is ultimately what creates the problem. We want to appeal to the good police and say, look, if you have corruption within your lines, within your ranks or whatever, report it. The people have your back, because what always gets thrown about is, oh, it's not in the people's interest. Well, these are the sparks of the brain that are going to cause this movement to show that we do care. We want this corruption removed from our establishments as peacefully and as unified as possible. So that's ultimately...
Well, that's basically what I've done. I've stood up, and of course I got hammered for it, but I'm still here, and you know, apparently the police are aware who I am, which is okay as long as it's positive. But you know, I don't want disharmony. I want corruption rooted out, and I want this perverse collusion at high ranking to be held accountable, you know. So where have you travelled from today?
Manchester.
Oh well, God bless, you know, and let's have a lovely day, you know.
You too.
Good to see you. Cheers. So there we have it, the People's World Council.
I'm usually on the streets with a megaphone, and I can spend all afternoon ranting from the pavement or the square or a grassy mound or wherever about the things of concern. And it's very relaxing work because it's out in the open. It's quite often a sunny day and sometimes it's raining, but everything I say blows away in the wind and never gets heard by anybody. So it doesn't really matter what I say, I just make a noise. This is raising me up to a higher level, and it's been a bit daunting. So that was one reason why I dithered as to whether I was going to come, and therefore did not get on the list in time of the speakers. But never mind, here I am, and I'm jolly glad I came. Then also, being an anti-child abuse campaigner, I mean, the children's rights advocate or children's advocate is a bit of a euphemism. I'm absolutely against child abuse. That's the number one thing in my life. I started my life as a small child detesting cruelty and detesting injustice in roughly equal proportion, because I couldn't stand it, as I think, I can't remember which...
Thank you, Belinda. Thank you, Belinda. Thank you, Belinda. Thank you, Belinda. Thank you, Belinda.
And children, when they're being interviewed, they get a feeling that if I don't please this person who's interviewing me, it's going to get much worse for me. And there's all this stuff going on around with people trying to make you say things that you don't know in your heart are not true, and yet they're trying to make you say things which are not true, and you're trying to, maybe because you're all on your own, please the people, please your captors looking after you, then obviously... And children, when they're being interviewed, they get a feeling that if I don't please this person who's interviewing me, it's going to get much worse for me. And there's all this stuff going on around with people trying to make you say things that you don't know in your heart are not true, and yet they're trying to make you say things which are not true, and you're trying to, maybe because you're all on your own, please the people, please your captors looking after you, then obviously... the mother has been driven away by a police arrest, attempted arrest on her, the McKenzie friend that was assisting her, my colleague, has also been driven away through threats of police arrest. Both of them are now absent from the case. So we've got already 3 or 4 scapegoats lined up here. We've got my colleague Sabine for allegedly leaking. She denies that. She said she didn't mean to leak, or that wasn't intention. We've got the mother's current partner. There's now allegation, well, they have been right from the start, that he's actually hurt the children and abused them in some way, and that may have been, massaged up a bit to make him look, much worse than he is. And yet he's certainly not a sexual abuser, that we can honestly say, whereas the father must have been the sexual abuser, because the children have got evidence of having been sexually abused. So, the allegations against the father remain the strongest.
What's your advice for anyone in a similar situation? Should they go to the police and report it? Should they go
the
to
best
the
thing's
social
not.
services?
I have to say, I would advise people not to go to the police initially. I would advise people to get together with other local parents who have been in a similar situation and get support from each other in the community.
Yes.
You know, it's very important that.
And what about,
I would also advise people to do a lot of research on the internet about other cases, your own case. You know, the people actually.
Thank you, Belinda. 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 Hello, and my name is Jon Wedger, as mentioned by Belinda, and my purpose for being here is that I am a police whistleblower. I did nearly my full service. I did 25 years with the Metropolitan Police, mainly as a detective, and I specialised in child abuse investigations. It's an area of investigations I didn't want to go in, and like I've said before, the children found me. I never actually went looking for them. How it all started was that in the early 2000s I was asked to look into transient paedophiles that had gone missing post the implementation of the Sex Offenders Registry Act of 1997. There was a lot of paranoia amongst the paedophile community that they were going to get outed, and there was quite a lot of vigilantes. There was people sort of burning them out, and I think they even burnt out a paediatrician's house down in Portsmouth. So yeah, bizarre stuff happening anyway. So they went missing, and I was asked to look into them. And one of the strange things was that there was a loophole in the law that I'd exposed, and it was that they could go and live on canal boats, and they could actually avoid registry. It's talk in its own right. But something very strange happened, and this is where I sort of entered into the world of conspiracy. Now, conspiracy is a statute law. You can conspire to do near enough every arrestable offence. The only people that can't conspire in law are husband and wife. But what happens is this word theory or theorist gets shoved on the end, and it tries to make it nonsensical, but it exists. And what happened there was that I was highly successful. I'd been asked to find as many paedophiles that had gone missing within a 3-month period. There was 2 that were on the books, and I was told if you find another 2 we'll be happy. Within a month I'd found 90. I was then approached by a very seasoned and hardened Scotland Yard detective that had been on the paedophile unit since its inception. And he came up to me and he said, "John, in all other realms of policing, if you do well, you're rewarded. When you look into this stuff, you get hit, and you get hit hard. Your name's being mentioned in the corridors of Scotland Yard. You need to watch yourself." Within 2 weeks of that, I was summoned by a senior officer and told that the operation, which is highly successful, was being shut down. He told that it was due to funding, but I quizzed it, and he was honest with me and said it's come from high up. But it was at that point I was also told of the fact that when in the past they'd investigated child sex crimes involving politicians, that similar stuff happens. And I was told about one very prominent politician of the day who had a liking for dressing up in women's clothing. There was 2 investigations into him and young boys, and on both accounts they were shut down. So then I realised that these things go on. I then moved on to quite an elite unit called the Vice Unit. And while I was on there, I was asked to investigate allegations by a very young teenage girl that she had been worked as a prostitute. This girl, I went to see her at the time, the relevant time that she was being pimped out, as it were. She was 13 years old. She was given crack cocaine and heroin and worked as a prostitute all around London, but mainly Westminster. And she'd be taken from crack houses one minute up to posh West End Mayfair restaurants the next. She'd be traded for as little as 10 rocks of crack cocaine or as much as £2,000 an hour. When I spoke to her, she said, I'll approach the police on many occasions and they've dismissed it. And when I spoke to her, she said, it's not just me, John, there's others. She gave me names of other girls who gave me names of other girls, and it just mushrooms. Very shortly, we had dozens and dozens and dozens of kids coming forward, and they ranged from 9 years old to 14. They were all on heroin and crack cocaine, and they were all being pimped out. There was rumours of people in the judiciary, ranked police officers, people with money, wealthy Arabs, right the way down to crack dealers. And what happened then was that I drafted a report. There were social workers coming forward, and they were saying it's not just in Westminster, John, this is happening in Croydon, this is happening in Harringay, this is happening in Hackney. One social worker said, if we don't put an end to this, John, there's one girl that we've got, she's so infected that she leaks, well, it'd just be graphic pus from between her legs every day due to how she's being worked. And she says she's going to die. So I drafted a report, a factually based report. I served this report to the intelligence unit, who in turn served it to the management. Within minutes, I was summoned to see a senior officer. Now at the time, I was still quite young. I was a single parent of 4 children. 2 of the children were not my children, and my ex-partner left them with me, yet I brought them up. I never received a penny from the state for it. Right, and them 2 kids were going into care. And I knew what was happening to the care system, because every single child I was dealing with, every single one of them was subject to a care order. They were deliberately preying on children from the care system because they had no one coming for them. And as I was to find out, it was a racket, and a very, very lucrative racket, and it had been going on for generations, at least 15 years prior to when I looked into it. I was brought in by a senior officer who, I've got to admit, I liked the guy. He was a nice man. He turned around to me and his demeanour totally changed. And he turned around to me and said, John, what the effing hell have you done? He said, what you've exposed is going to F us, past, present and future. This cannot and this will not ever get out. If you mention a word of what you've exposed, you will be thrown to the wolves. He said, you have no idea who or what you're dealing with. This is very deep. He said, I promise you now, you will lose your home, your job and your children. Shut the F up. Now, they were his words. They were predictive, because I refused to shut up. And I stood up and I continued to speak out. Thank you.
On the police records. I've never heard Hollie naming anybody. You haven't? Myself, no. Okay. Right. So what, find me evidence actually makes you believe that this is true? Holly. But we do need a conduit for funds to help with this work. And every day there's a new cost come in. So, for example, there's a whistleblower, Brown Pete, in Thameside prison at the moment.
The paedophilic rings that they have been working with. It will cause havoc because they will all be saying who's the first one to come out and going to grass us all up so that they can get amnesty. So, amnesty for paedophiles who expose the rings that they're working for. Let's do that.
I would like to see a kind of amnesty for everybody who's been up to these practices and to be rehabilitated, restored into the mainstream of the human community. I would like to see a kind of amnesty for everybody there's no, in my heart anyway, there's no wish to go around having a witch hunt against all the people who've been named in the Hampstead area. Cornelius is going to give a message from Kevin Annett in Canada. Kevin is an incredible person.